Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been only a week since our last live, and I realize I'm not wearing a watch.
Skin watch.
Welcome to the studio for another live Q&A. We've already got some questions ahead of time. I'm sure lots of people are going to be joining us. As they do, we'll try and say hi to a few. Who's first today?
No one. Me. Rob just signed in and said, hey Tom.
Hey Rob, good to see you.
They're slowly trickling in.
We have our new release coming up tomorrow. I've got a lot of toys in front of me today. This is great. So, yeah, who's going to be first?
I don't know. Well, it's not showing me yet. We do have 3 people in here.
Okay. So usually we get, like, Tiki Man's usually.
Tiki Man is watching. He just showed up. Right on cue.
Nice. It's like it had to be.
Alex Arnold is mowing his lawn.
Naturally. Yeah. So tomorrow is the release of our next maquette in the archive collection. It is another Jabba the Hutt. This time an early concept by Chris Wayless. It's a really cool one of those, like, what if moments where I think it's really a fully realized character, and you could pop this head onto any number of different bodies, and it could have been a cool take on. It's funny, I'm actually realizing it looks a little like that sketch of the Jabba, like stop motion over.
Oh yes,
actor.
very much. Yeah.
Like it's that head.
Yeah,
if
totally.
You plug that on just a rotund body. But we'll go in depth on that. We had somebody was asking about our bronzes from last week, so why don't I'll pull those back out. So this is the Regal Icons line. This is the start of a brand new line with us that we have. What is it? 1, 2. We have 3 more coming. 2 that haven't been announced yet, and
tote.
One which is the 2-sided tote from Indiana Jones: Raiders of the Lost Ark. These actually, I think, what was the question they had?
I was gonna
how
bring
are
that up.
Selling?
Yeah, not sure if you could share this info, but can you give us a rough estimate on how many of each of the? Oh no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's about the mini masks. But I'm asking it anyway.
Okay.
I already started.
All right.
So Mike is asking. He wants to know if you can get some info on how many are left of the mini masks.
Gotcha. So the mini masks, which are not shown, I'm going to pull these out so everyone knows. Are actually selling pretty well. That is also the start of a new line. We're calling them mini masks. They're scaled prop replicas. They are scanned off of the original masks in the archives. And the line that Mike is asking about, or the first wave, was Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto. And my recollection is there's only about 25 left of each out of the initial 250, I believe they were put up at. So if there's something you've been looking at,
you better grab them quick.
I would not delay too long.
But let me ask the question that is about the bronze bust while we have them out. There's actually 2 questions.
Okay.
Sean is asking any possibility of a 1-to-1 bronze resin Tarkin. That would be awesome.
So what you do is you take this one, you buy it, and then you just hold it really close to the camera for a forced perspective thing like in Lord of the Rings. I would say never say never on that. That's not something that's on the schedule already. I will say these are selling well. The reaction's been really good to them, which is great, very heartening. We've been hard at work on this lineup for a long time, and no one's even known what it was. So to have them out there and selling well, and people are leaving nice comments and things, that's fantastic. Could there be something like a 1-to-1 of Tarkin? I personally would love to see that.
That'd be nice.
Could that be done in resin, just like this, with the full bronze surface? Absolutely. Could we even do some sort of hyper-limited real bronze scenario with that, maybe for an anniversary or something? That could be a lot of fun too. I think, depending on how this line sells just in general, that's going to tell us what the appetite is. And if there's ever something that you see that we have, and you're like, oh, I'd love to see that like this, or oh, are you ever going to do that? This is where I always tell folks, go join the Uniquely Regal Robot fan group on Facebook. Rob and I spend a lot of time in there, way too much time, some might say. We look for questions like that. We try and answer them, or bring them into videos like this and ask them in front of everybody so that everybody benefits from the answer. So definitely possible. And like I said, these are actually selling well. Was that the other question? Was it about sales numbers, or was it?
Well, that was about the masks.
Oh, okay.
The mini masks. I have more questions about the mini masks as well.
Oh, okay. So, but these, our initial run on each of these, we had said about 200. It was actually 250 was where we wound up. And we're actually just today already to the point where we're probably going to have to do a reorder. And based on the way they've sold thus far, we will probably do that, which will mean that, a good number of fans are going to get the chance to get these. And it's a really solid introduction to this line, and makes me very happy because we have a lot planned for this line. And we have a lot of stuff like, one of our uniquely words is unexpected. We have a lot of unexpected stuff for this line. So stay tuned.
Yes.
And if these are ones you're looking at, definitely get in an order. Currently, they're still on the site for delivery in December. If we do push into that reorder territory, that's probably going to move back about 2 months for any new orders coming in. So we'll be looking at that in the next day or so.
Let me just give a few shout outs if people
Yeah.
So Tiki Man obviously says hello, folks. So hey, Tiki Man. John says what's up. Rick says hello. Ian says, hey guys, what a day. Am I right? Whatever could he be talking about?
Is he okay?
Yeah, I know.
Anybody who's out there who isn't in on the joke.
We need to make one of those like marked safe on Facebook for
Yes,
Ian. Like
yes,
any amount of man news.
Yeah. Join the Uniquely Regal Robot fan group, and you will get jokes like that about Ian and his man obsession.
And speaking of Ian,
yes,
he says Tom previously said that October's bronze bust is not a Star Wars or Indy. Any additional hints?
Hints.
Well, here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
It's off camera. Ian, we planted something just for you, and it's just off camera. If you really squint, maybe you can see something.
I'll just say this: the person in that bust is absolutely an icon.
Yeah, it's killer.
And the sculpt that Christian did on it is really good. One of my favorites, I think, so far. Which is saying something. I think that's all we'll say for right now, but this is the last video before, so I don't know. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah,
the camera moves.
Yeah, maybe I'll pan around a bit.
You never
know. Tiki Man has a question on the mini masks.
Yeah.
Regarding the mini mask, is it possible for you to produce a mask if the piece is not in the archives? For example, a number of the Cantina characters are in private hands.
So
good question.
That's accurate. They are in private hands. Yes. Is it possible? I think the question becomes, for us, the archive collection is not specifically about the archives as much as it is about lineage. And there have already been pieces, things like our Chewbacca's and stuff like that, where we've had lineage that didn't come from the archives, but is to an original. In the case of Chewbacca, my friend Gus Lopez had a piece from Stuart Freeborn that was an original skin of Chewbacca without the hair on it, which was very helpful in making that sculpture when the time came. So, assuming that we have the ability to scan one of the originals or something like that, then it would certainly be possible to have something not in the archives be a part of that scaled replica line. Now that's a big if, and it depends on the item, depends on whether it's available, if someone's comfortable sharing, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's possible. And it's funny, I'm realizing now we have one or two things in the works that a friend of mine owns that are original pieces from the Star Wars films that actually we got to scan and are part of things that are in
the good thing is usually we know those private hints.
Yes. Yeah, through, anybody who's ever been to TomSpinaDesigns.com knows that we are dialed in terms of the community that collects original film props, I'm one of those collectors as well. Luckily, Rob as well. Luckily, we got in 25 years ago when you still could. But you know, through the work we've done restoring this stuff, doing displays and things like that, we know where a lot of this stuff is. So if there's going to be opportunity to get access to that stuff, that's us.
Mike says, next to Leia, top right? I don't know what he's talking about.
Am I right?
My right.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, camera's right. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
I don't know.
you do
Where
kind
is it?
You see a little something. You see
Okay.
a little something.
He'll
Ian
be
says,
zooming in
Yeah.
like some kind of forensic thing later and in a group with arrows and red yarn.
then Ian says, Phil. I don't even know what that means.
Oh, so he must have just seen Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh, that's
Phil.
Phil. Yes, we quote that way
do,
too
yeah.
much. Rick says, an Alf bust?
I stopped shaving 3 days ago.
Yes, it's an Alf bust. No.
Oh my god. So for starters, so Barry and I went through a antique mall the other day, and 4 Alfs were spotted at different places, different booths.
Wow.
It was just like, it felt like every 20 feet there was another Alf.
Wow.
But I mean, Alf was huge when,
Big time.
When I was growing up. So yeah, I would love to bring some Alf stuff in someday.
Tony says, hey, Tom and Rob and fellow
Hey,
Roboteers, the Jabba bus looks incredible. Great work, RR team. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Roboteers,
I love that.
Ian's also says, speaking of, it would be incredible to eventually get a replica-ish of the Cobra Woman maquette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
incredible. That's a really cool thing.
That's a good one. We like that one.
Yeah.
No weird smiles from us. Sean is asking, is there a chance we ever get an Indiana Jones mine car maquette?
There's not a maquette.
That's not a maquette, yeah.
There are stop motion figures and stop motion, carts.
Yeah, and they are crude. Well, the figures are crude.
Yeah.
The cart is killer.
The cart's cool, maybe a little outside of our norm, but but those figures, boy, I feel like not enough people would know they're supposed to look so bad.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
But yeah, I mean, it's a neat thing. I know people probably know that from the Best in the Lucasfilm Archives book, because there's that picture of that little display of it, which was on an exhibit in Japan at the time that they did that book. So I think that's why people ask about that one more than other things.
John's saying, what about possibilities for maquettes that have been completely lost, like the Tauntaun that is a lizard-like with Luke on it?
So I know that one.
Yeah, that's a very cool one.
And I don't even know that that's specifically Luke, because that's early. So among those, there's a bunch of this sort of like UK art department maquettes from Empire.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a few different Wampa heads.
Yeah,
there's
cool
a full-size Wampa that looks very Yeti gorilla kind of shaped. There's that Tauntaun. There's probably a couple others that I'm forgetting right now. What I would say is this: prior to laser scanning and stuff like that, we did things like photogrammetry and even just rebuilding based on photos. Now, in order to do that, you really do need good angles of these things. But very luckily on that Empire stuff, not through Lucasfilm, through a private source, I managed to get a hold of turnaround photos of almost all of those maquettes. So if people are interested in the sort of lost Empire maquettes, in particular for me, I love, there's a Wampa head that is really, really cool with the silver eyes and everything. But if that's the sort of thing that interests you, definitely let us know. There's a few photos floating around out there, but we do probably have enough reference to make those, so you never know.
So Kevin says, great to see everyone. Love the back-to-back shows. Sounds like a weekly show, a new weekly show. I mean, we did dabble about a podcast.
You never know.
I mean,
is it weekly or is it uniquely?
Oh, no. If you guys want a podcast, comment about it.
By the way, if anybody wants a uniquely real
we have
t-shirt,
those.
These new shirts are on the website. Go to the More Decor section. You can pick one up. Very soft, very comfortable.
All right, I'm caught up with the live questions. Why don't
Okay.
we talk Jabba?
So let me move some things out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with Max here because I think I like Max for scale just because he was one of the first ones and I feel like he's like kind of a normal scale maquette. The Jabba, just from a base point of view, you can see he's much wider, he's a bit deeper, and just in terms of mass, he is
He's a big boy.
blobbier. He's much more solid. He's similar in height. He's similar in overall sort of just front to back, but he's much wider, and he's just this big solid blob of resin. These are all being done right now, and in fact, they're in the back putting them on their bases. So the first like 25 or 30, I think, are going to ship immediately after the sales go up tomorrow. I think on the website it's going to say 3 to 4 weeks, but we should be ahead of that. They've got another batch going, and the plan for this is basically if you pick it up and pay in full, it should ship within the next couple of weeks, which is great. I love when we can have pieces like that. And then the payment plan ones we'll be making over time, and we'll have them ready to go when the plans finish. But yeah, for scale, here is a 3 3/4 action figure next to him. A little bit of a mass difference there. And I always figure this is like, everyone that's our fan knows that as a scale, just like inherently. This is now the third Jabba we've done in this series. Technically, there is one more that was a Phil design, the quote "too human" design, which you never know, we might get to. But this has always been a favorite design of mine. Originally, I thought that this was based on a Ralph McQuarrie sketch, because if you look in Brandon Allinger, Dave Mandel, and Wade LaJose's book, the Ralph McQuarrie archive book, 27 pounds of book, by the way, if anybody ever wants to pick it up. They've got a whole section of Ralph's drawings on Jabba, and there's a few of them that really look like this. But in talking to Chris Wallace, who sculpted this was actually done before Ralph was even on the movie. Ralph came into Jedi later than normal. And on the creature side of things, they were just designing their own creatures prior to Ralph even coming in. And what kind of backs that up a little bit is, if you look at Ralph's painting of the Rancor, it is Phil's maquette. Like pose,
Everything.
coloration, everything. So it really seems like, Ralph came in later and he was pulling from these maquettes and exploring other things with them. And with Jabba, that looks like what was going on. I guess, while Phil was doing all of his weird versions of it, Ralph was sketching kind of loosely based off of this and trying to come up with other things as well. And ultimately, what starts here drifts to too horrible, then too human, and then ultimately, just right. And this is when we talk photogrammetry, when we talk, working off of photos and pulling it in at different angles and then by hand going in and filling in the gaps. That's the way this one was done. And we did eventually get to laser scan this later on, once that became a little more prevalent. But it's funny. It's so close. We almost can't justify ever
doing it again. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think we've got a lot of other ones to do before we even consider that. And it really would be tough to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's too close.
And our coloration is really close on this. We spent a little extra time with this on one of the most recent trips. We did an extended color matching thing with all of the maquettes, doing new photos of them with color cards and a specific backdrop and doing additional Pantoning and stuff. And it was just to make sure we were filling in any gaps and information that we might have for future releases. And this was one of those ones where it's like, is that ours?
Yeah.
We did pretty good.
Why don't you tell them where that one resides at the ranch? Because
it is interesting. This one's a little trickier to access, because this is actually in the main house where George's office is. So this is...
Which tells you something.
Yes,
He cherry-picked all the good stuff,
and there's a little row of display cases off to the side of the entrance of the main house when you come in, leading towards Linda Ronstadt's
piano, which I've played.
Right, that's right, with permission. Shh! I was going to get in and bust out some Home Sweet Home. And there's like an Indiana Jones whip, there's an idol, There's a headpiece of the Staff of Ra.
The Sarlacc pit maquette is in there, which is strangely enough.
Ken Ralston did a maquette of the. It turned out
we call it the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, it's loosely based on that,
Yeah.
though, I think, and it does turn up in the panning shot from Star Wars: The Jedi, but it's not in any of the books. It's really cool looking.
Jedi Luke's lightsaber.
Jedi Luke saber, the one that went into space.
Yes, yeah.
There's some other miscellaneous, like space related, sort of things, if I'm not mistaken.
Some Norman Rockwells,
Yeah,
no big deal.
There's the maquette of the skiff.
Yes.
With the little army men on it. That's
That's a cool piece.
And this Jabba.
Yeah.
I did say, one of the first trips we made to the archives for Regal officially, like a lot of people, I used to go to the archives a lot. No, we had been lucky enough to get to go to the archives, both sort of officially and not officially, some just as an invite for visits, some looking at things like Chewbacca for when we were doing tour suits for Lucasfilm and stuff like that. And also when we were doing restoration work for the archives. So we would go and look at pieces and examine and evaluate which pieces needed work and what we could do for them. But when Regal started up, 2016, prior to even going public, we did get to go in and look at a batch of stuff for Regal. And the first batch we saw, this is now the last piece of the things we saw to make. So we saw Chewbacca, which we eventually did as a bust and life-size figure. We saw the Gaffy stick from the Tusken Raiders, which we did the replica of. We saw the Tusken Raider bust, or mask, which we eventually went back and scanned and made a beautiful bust of, which is still available, like 15 left. And then we saw a handful of maquettes. The Wampa puppet, which we eventually made, the signature edition, I believe, is still available. And then on the maquette side, we saw Max Rebo, we saw Droopy McCool, we saw Yuzum, and we saw this Jabba. And it's really cool to close out that run. We picked stuff early on that were things that were just favorites of mine at the time. And it's really kind of wild to think, like, all of that stuff got made. It's all in people's homes now. And this is about to be next. So let me move these out of the way.
Let me catch up on a few questions because we have a bunch on here. Regarding our non-existent podcast, Tiki Man says, yes, we are interested. Mike says, yes. And then Ian says, a podcast would be awesome. Can you imagine the guests we can get for a podcast? I mean,
we can get some good guests.
Let me jump to this one because this will give you a nice segue. CC says the legacy sketches for this look great. So why don't you show some of those?
So if people are in the Uniquely Regal Robot fan group, we've posted some early shots of some of the sketches. I think there was a good shot of Chris doing some of them. So I'll pull a few of these out. We picked out a handful at random. What's nice is, so there are 2 additions to this, just like with every other kind of major maquette we've been doing lately. The signature edition, which comes with Chris Wayless's signature on a metal plaque. That'll be $3.99. And then we have at $6.99 the Legacy edition, which comes with a one-of-a-kind, hand-drawn, full-color illustration, really, of this particular interpretation. It's not just Jabba in general. This is Chris Wayless's early take. And so let's lay a few of these out. So what I like is that even when he's stoic, this guy has so much character and menace. And apparently he has the George the Animal Steel green tongue in some of these too, which I think is great. But Chris really kind of did a range. There's some that are very static. I love this with the sneer. There's a few of those. This guy's kind of got a variation on that. There's some teeth on some of them, like just random choppers. Like, look at that, with like just gaps. Chris clearly had some fun with these. He was right on board with us when we pitched the idea of doing sketches with our editions. I think the first one he did might have been Ishitib, which you can still get some of on the site. That was his favorite of the maquettes. So that was a good first ask for him. And then we did the Rees sketches with him shortly after that. which came out a few months ago and sold out really fast. And now we have these. We've been inching these up. We had, I think there was 40 on Yuzum. I think we did, was it 45 or 50 on the last one? Who was the last?
Reese was last on the schedule.
No, Toadstool.
Oh, for the mechanic.
Sorry, not his.
Yeah.
So for this one, knowing this is a little bit more of a popular character, we're doing 55 pieces on the Legacy Edition and 100 pieces on the Signature. Those are going to go fast. The Legacy in particular, I don't expect to be on the site more than a day. I honestly would be surprised if it lasts a few hours.
Yeah.
Don't delay if the sketch version is what you're after. And then from there, the Signature Edition, just 100 pieces. That's still, that's less than we did of things like the Rancor, and smaller than even the Toadstool, now that I'm thinking about it. Toadstool was an interesting case because he started out, he was only going to be Signature, and then turns out Judy, who told us she wasn't really the best at drawing, was really, really freaking good at drawing.
Just wait.
Yes.
Boys and girls.
So, anyway, these go up tomorrow, Tuesday, 9/23, noon Eastern. If you want the sketch edition, that's the time to do it. If you want the Signature edition, maybe don't even wait much longer than that, because I have a feeling this is going to go well too. I've been really it makes me happy to see how many people have responded well to this version. We're going to have 2 great video reviews coming out too. So Gabe over at Star Wars Replicas on YouTube and Mighty Jabba each have videos coming out. Either are they today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think
Mighty's is up.
I'm not sure.
Well,
I don't know. No, it wasn't up when we got.
They'll be attached to the
anyway.
email blast in the morning
Yeah.
too, so you guys can get a nice, easy way to get to them.
But check them out. They're really, it's really cool seeing these with the other pieces and getting some of that backstory. Mighty Jabba does a really good job of telling that backstory too. It looks like you had a question.
I have a bunch. We have a lot of live questions, and I have some previous ones too. Jumping off topic slightly, I just don't want to lose this. We have someone asking, Rue is asking about the one-to-one space slug and if there will be legacy sketches with that.
No sketches with the slug.
Mm-hmm.
We have been doing some sketches after the fact. I wouldn't rule it out, but currently the slug is a dual Signature edition with a larger than normal plaque, similar to the plaque we did for the Holochess.
Yeah.
Speaking of, did anybody catch the Mando trailer?
So cool.
The fact that they've got Mr. Big in there,
A big Mr. Big.
Italian Savrip.
Never say that again.
It's just full size.
It's Mr. Big.
That was really, really cool. So anyway, back to that question. No sketches at the outset. The scaled version of the slug will be a numbered edition with a plaque, and then the large full-size replica.
I mean, you ain't wrong.
It's not that big. He will come with a larger dual signed plaque by Phil Tippett, who did the sculpt, and Doug Beswick, who did the mechanics. And Phil, obviously someone we worked with before. Doug, this is the first time we've got him involved in a Signature edition, which is great. I have known Doug since 2007, 2008 maybe. And just really, really nice guy. Very nice family. Extremely talented, and someone who was a part of so many movies that you love that you maybe don't even realize. Things like stop motion in The Terminator and working on some of those puppets, Aliens, Return of the Jedi. Was he on Return? Well, definitely Empire. The first Star Wars, he sculpted the Cantina Band guy. Octoman with Rick Baker doing the main character. Terminator, said Aliens, I'm trying to think. Beetlejuice. I mean, somebody that has kind of, in my opinion, flown under the radar a little bit when people make their kind of best of lists. Really, really key guy and super nice to boot, which is great.
Mike says, love the iteration of Jabba and the RMQ vibe. I cannot wait to add this to my existing Jabba maquettes. The sketches look amazing as well. So thanks, Mike.
We should do some close-ups of the paint on this, too.
Yeah, well, I have a few questions about that. Yeah, I zoomed in before with the sketches, too.
Yeah.
Rick says, didn't know F-Mon was so big. It looks huge back there.
Yes.
Love the new job. But yeah, F-Mon is a big boy.
He's very big.
And
there's really only one that's much bigger than him.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
He's a man of a certain stature.
Terrible. Terrible. Speaking of a man,
yes.
Ian says, Tom said last week that the new Jabba has a unique shine or sheen to it. Does that show up on camera? So let's try and get that to show up on camera.
Let me move these sketches out of the way so we're not... Let's just do that. So...
Let's get in on it.
I kind of...
You know what? You can see on his brow.
So it's basically in the highlight areas.
Yeah,
There's
like
a sort of pearlescent sheen to him. And it kind of drifts back as well.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. At least I'm seeing it on my end. But on the high points on his eyebrows, you can see it on his lips.
And then, of course, you have things like all these veins buried in the paint here. He's got this darker color on his back under the sort of back of the head blob. And all this little spatter and things like that. This is the sort of stuff that we probably didn't have to do.
No.
Nobody knows at the back of it. Like, we could have just left it pink or purple like the rest of them. But for us, I mean, even things like this blob of paint here, that's on the original. That's not somebody made a mistake. So for us, it's really like being faithful and authentic in how we're recreating this thing. So he's got just gloss on his eyes. He's got things like weird just lines of veins on there and stuff. Again, things that anybody else might think was a mistake. Are things that we're putting on there on purpose. But he's just got such great attitude as a sculpt. You know what? Somebody had asked about the sculpt itself. Let me answer that before I forget.
Yeah, that was Tony. The upcoming Jabba concept bust is one of my favorite maquettes. Any details on Chris's process on this one? Did he have the concept in mind or just started pushing the clay around and let that lead him?
So, I love that phrase because it's definitely a thing people do. It's definitely a thing I've done in the past. Like sometimes the clay literally takes you where it needs to go. And Chris said that this did not have a sketch in mind or anything like that. He picked up a blob of Sculpey, started moving it around, and he said he was working so fast, just trying to get things done, that he just picked it up, grabbed it, mashed it around until it started to look like something. And then once it seemed presentable, he just refined it from there. And I think, considering he's just working from a blob, this is an incredible character to come out of that kind of work. Usually you don't get this much character out of something unless you've sketched it ahead of time. Like this has attitude, this has presence, it looks right through you. To me, character is like the number one thing that a sculptor can do. It's one thing to do an accurate representation of something in front of you, maybe a copy, but to be able to turn something that is an alien into something that feels like it has a personality is impressive, and I feel like that's what Chris did here.
Alex said, just got off the plane, late for 2 in a row. Why do I picture like an old-timey biplane or something?
Absolutely.
There was big propellers and
nice try, loud
snakes are probably in there.
Time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just definitely, there's no way it's a regular plane. John says, is there more opportunities for anything droid related? It's been a while since y'all have a droid piece.
Yes, there is an opportunity for that. And there's a couple of different things in mind there.
Going back to the Tusken, Tony said the Tusken Raider bust is an incredible it's incredible in hand. Amazed it's not sold out.
It's it's one of these pieces where that's a pretty big edition. Was 150 pieces.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
But it is. It's one of these things. I don't think people realize the mass and feel of that thing. For me, seeing the originals in person, and when I talk about that first official trip and the stuff we saw, I had been there enough where I knew what surprised me. I knew what grabbed me. And those Tusken masks weren't something where I was like dying to see them and make a replica. But I remembered the first time seeing them and just prior to that, I would have said, not great. After seeing them, I was like, oh crap,
Yeah.
we have to make this.
It's like
so cool.
it's like Belloc's staff when we saw that. Like we would never think of making that.
No,
and then
no.
seeing it, we're like, we need to make this.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
That happens a lot.
yeah. Ian says, the cool thing with these sketches is how Chris played around with Jabba's moods. And I specifically picked different moods to show. I feel like, hey, that goes across all of these
on
sketches.
Mood Board?
Yes,
Yeah.
our mood Jabba.
By the way, if you want to, for context on this guy, he is in the From Star Wars to Jedi documentary in the panning shot. He turns up in the Art of Star Wars. There's a table shot, and I believe he's in there, although he's small. He's seen very well in the From Star Wars to Indiana Jones Best of Lucasfilm Archives book. There's a nice shot, a 3-up with these two. No, I'm sorry. It's these two and the forearm Jabba.
Correct, yep.
And then let's see, he's not in the it's not in the Chronicles, but he is on the cover of the Smithsonian.
Yep.
Which feels really cool to check another one off of that list.
We've been doing a lot of those lately,
Yeah, I love pulling stuff off of that cover. We've got a video that'll be out tomorrow that kind of has a gathering of the ones that we've done that are on that
and
cover.
you'll be surprised how many we've done already.
Yeah.
So Alex says the color on that maquette is beautiful. The sketches look great. So thanks, Alex. Ian says green tongue Jabba is so cool.
This is really fun.
Don't let a man hear you. He gets very jealous. Tony says, yeah. Tony says, how many paint layers are on that Jabba? A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot on there.
Enough that we second thought using our regular pricing on them, I'll say that. But the team are really crushing it. I was just in the back looking at all the samples that are there. They're really, really good. I'd have to look at the number of layers. It's genuinely a lot. Like it, up until now, I mean, there have been a few that have been high on paint.
The Rancor's up there too.
Rancor, but it's not as many colors. It's just a lot of mass and a lot of dabs.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of layers to get this right. What's his name? Nine
Numb has a lot. Yeah,
has a lot of layers, but I think he tops out. 90% sure he has more actual layers than he does, even though there's probably more physical paint on him because of the spotting and stuff.
Clint says, I got a really nice re-ease sketch. Those Jabbas look great.
Oh,
so
nice.
awesome, Clint.
Yeah, I love those re-ease sketches too. That's so fun.
Ian says, quote, just wait, a.k.a. we're getting a Yak Face legacy sketch, hashtag Rob confirmed. Did I say too much?
I will say this, not to do with necessarily Yak Face or anybody in particular, but we do have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 in the hopper on the sketches.
Yeah.
And we just recently got one of them that I think is going to blow everyone away. It is very unexpected. It will look. The best part of this line is that every one of these artists is unique. Every one of them is doing their own thing, and this person really did their own thing with this particular one. And I am so excited to share those. That'll probably be in early 26 rather.
Ian says, fun fact, a Man is also on that Smithsonian cover. Did you know that, Tom? Fun fact.
We are painfully aware of
All right,
that.
so
Yes.
Mike wrote a very long question. I'm just going to read it. I hope it's nothing dirty. All right. A nerdy production history question on this maquette. Okay. Considering timing standpoint, if this was one of the first maquettes Regal Robot checked out, what may have been some of the contributing factors this has been released as number 3 in the Jabba maquette offering? Were there any challenges producing this one, or is it just how it shaked out for production and scheduling?
That's a
pretty much
question. Yeah. This is the stuff that Rob and I, and now sometimes Max and other folks here at the studio agonize over. What to release when. I will say this: after the Tauntaun, we were really keen to get into the Return of the Jedi line, but the Tauntaun, meaning this big full-size Tauntaun, was selling on the slow side. So to us, it was going to be important to do one that really looked like the final and really pulled people in. So that drew us to this Jabba as the next one. From there, we went on to, I think we had maybe the Gamorrean Guard from Mando, because that was timely, but then we got to Max shortly after. And that was another where we needed that infusion of like, we need some energy in this line, we got to do something people are going to get excited about. We had no idea how excited people were going to get for Max. His signature edition is, his numbered edition is a fairly large edition. There's still some left, but it's way more than half sold out. It might even be more than that at this point. So if you've been waiting on a Max, don't. But, you know, so now you've got sort of two Phil Tippett's really early on. So for us, after that, it became about timing, about feel, about spacing, also about price, making sure we're not releasing too many big, complicated ones in a row, that kind of thing. To be honest, Two Snail like snuck up on us. That was one of those ones that we always wanted to do. We weren't sure if we were going to be allowed to. He's pretty gross. But we got to spend a little extra time with him at the archives at one point, and he really just jumped up on our list. It really just, so I guess it's mostly just about timing after that point, you know, about balancing out the releases, making sure it's not too many Jabbas in a row, making sure it's not too many Phil pieces in a row, that kind of thing. So yeah, and you know, I know we keep getting people asking, when is the forearm Jabba coming? He is complicated. From a production standpoint, he's got some real challenges, but we'd love to make him. I wouldn't expect him anytime soon, though, just because, one, we have a bunch of other stuff lined up, and two, we're just putting out another Jabba now. I think we'll probably want a bit of air between now and the next Jabba.
Tony says, love Chris's ability to pack in so much skin texturing that make his maquettes feel more like finished characters, and they really do.
Yeah, a lot of really cool secondary wrinkles and stuff on this, and weighty, blobby stuff.
Clint says, body slam sketch.
Yeah.
We like that. Brent says, very excited about the Clone Trooper maquette. We are too.
Yeah.
Then Mike says, thank you for the great response to your question there. Love the production backstory. Also follow on Tom and Rob, what has been your favorite Jabba thus far? I'll reserve my thoughts until it's in hand, but this one looks incredible. Amazing job, guys. Mine is always going to be the closest to the original. Yeah. I mean, I love the other ones, but
I love the attitude.
Yeah, it's just the hand. It's just so good.
Man, I'm so torn between these two, because this was always a favorite of mine, but this one just
it's so
really
gross.
snuck up on me. I think just from a character point of view, it's probably this one. And I mean, it gave me a lot of pride to put this on the shelf with the others. Like, that felt nice. So for now, I'll say this, but I reserve the right to bring Too Horrible Jabba every once in a while into the mix.
I have a few questions that were posted online earlier.
We thought we weren't going to have enough questions.
I know. So Steve is asking, hey, Tom and Rob, is it fair to assume that if a mini mask is being made, it is unlikely going to be made as a one-to-one bust for the same character down the line?
Am I going to need the chalkboard to tell people about what happens?
Yes.
When they assume? Okay. Folks.
Exhibit A. You just pull it down from behind you. It's like a diagram of.
I would say never assume that. You know, for us, something like the Slug, where we've got a scaled version and the full-size prop, you know, tells you we take different looks at stuff. For us, that mini mask line is a different audience, I think, than the full-size line. I think you have people who collect one-to-one prop stuff, or have the room for that, or have the prestige for it. You know, they want to spend money on bigger pieces and whatever else, or that's just their thing. Personally, that's my kind of angle. I love one-to-one stuff, but I also know not everybody has the room for these, and maybe people want to bring home a piece of the archives for about $200 that they wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So those little mini masks are intentionally their own niche, and I would definitely say they're not disqualifying of us ever doing a life-sized of any of those.
Joe Blatz is saying, wondering if any considerations is being made to bring out the 4th skiff guard in the mini-mask collection. We kind of need Weequay. Of course, if there is 3 others in wave 2, I'm sure we can wait.
So I do think if and when the next mini mask comes along, it'll probably be a solo shot instead of 3 up, or it might be 2.
2, yeah.
So that first wave was 3 intentionally just to kind of kick things off and make it so that people can put it on a shelf and it's an instant collection. Not just a single thing sitting there. Weequay is a huge favorite of
One of
ours.
my favorites, yep.
You're also, if you're talking about the other skiff guards, don't forget Pope Snitchin. He's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think, Weequay's high on the list. There's a lot of really cool Palace alien masks that we could pull from. And, we've worked ahead on research on a lot of this stuff. So never say never.
David is saying, is there any chance of more breathing room between the pre-order dates of Walrus Man Bust, Golden Idol, and the Indy Fedora?
So, I don't know that we've even announced specific dates for those.
Just the year.
Right now, I think they're just listed as Q1 2026.
Yeah.
There's definitely a chance of some breathing room there. I think it will depend a little bit on production cycles and stuff like that. But I don't imagine you would see something like the Raiders hat and the Golden Idol back to back.
Yeah, we don't put big things right after each other.
We tend to space that out. And something like the Walrus Man bust is going to be a little bit of a standalone when you're talking about a life-size bust. And then, if there's anything Star Wars coming out around that, it's probably going to be on the smaller side anyway. Sorry, I just smacked my microphone. Everyone at home was just like, their headphones.
Ian is asking, is the original Amana Man mask in the archives? Wouldn't that make a nice scaled replica?
I have yet to see the original Amana Man costume.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of those ones that was fabricated and large enough that either A, he never got brought back, or B, he might, be crated off somewhere with stuff that hasn't been seen since 1983.
Alex says, my phone just cut out. All I heard was not being giving a hard time about any life size. You said, we're talking about the Ark, right?
What happens on those propeller planes. You don't get good signal.
Yeah, we're starting with the Angels, and then we're going to sell a piece a month.
Hashtag not confirmed.
Clint says, put the Fedora and Idol out tomorrow. David doesn't agree with that.
I was just going to say, David is going to fight. Listen, comments are good for our ranking on Facebook, so please feel free.
I am caught up, so why don't you give us a Jabba rundown again?
So, already, I'll put these guys out of the way. Still available.
Yep.
We're getting into the territory where we might have to do a reorder, so seems like that's what's going to happen, but if you're not sure, if you're on the
help
fence,
us with this reorder. Grab them. Yeah.
That'll help put us over top. Max Rebo, still available, numbered edition. That signature went fast. Oof. The 2 previous Jabbas, lots of fun, but long sold out. So your chance to bring Jabba home is tomorrow, and it's with Chris Wayless's early concept design and awesome sketches. I'm going to just kind of spread these out a little bit to take a look at. Pardon my shaky hands. That is, of course, the Legacy Edition, where Chris has drawn a one-of-a-kind illustration that goes with each one of these in the frame with his signature. There is also the Signature Edition, which will have Chris Wayless's signature on a plaque. Each of those come with this absolutely stunning, beautifully painted, if I may compliment the crew in the back, Michaela, Daisy, Melissa, Sam, Max, who did the original Paint Masters, Dan, who painted on some of these as well. did I say Marissa? I don't know if I
did
did.
not say Marissa.
That should cover everybody who's been painting on these. They're doing a really great job, and I'm just proud as heck of the team. This is up live tomorrow, $3.99, just $3.99 for the signature edition. 6-month payment plan. That's like nothing.
It's like a Starbucks every day.
That's right. And then it's probably less than that if you do that. And then the Legacy Edition is $6.99. 6-month payment plan available for each. If you order and pay in full, though, the team is already done with the first batch of them. They're working on another batch. First few weeks, we'll be shipping out all of the ones that are paid in full. That makes the assumption that we get a standard amount of paid in full. If more people pay than normal, then maybe it's 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. But right now, our goal is actually to have some of these shipping tomorrow after the orders come in. So I love that. I love that first day when the orders come in and looking in the lobby and seeing a tower of boxes ready to go. And it's just, we have plenty of things that we take the orders and where they have to be fulfilled later because of production and things like that. But for those times where we're able to do that uniquely us thing where we're making them right here and we can put them right out, I love it. So that's that. Come join us tomorrow, 9/23 at 12 noon Eastern on regalrobot.com. Put one of these guys in your cart, check out, use a payment plan if you want to wait. If not, pay in full. It'll come real soon. And you can add him to the rest of your maquettes. And, oh no.
You killed
the
Roboteer.
What happened? We think that's his name, by the way. We haven't settled on that. Honestly, he's just been called the Regal Robot. But I do like the Roboteer. I guess Roboteer.
We're the Roboteers. Yeah.
We follow the Regal
right,
Robot.
yeah, so he's the Regal Robot.
Is this a cult? Are we in a cult?
Are we wearing the same sneakers?
That's right. We're going to show up just wearing the helmet. But this is a beautiful thing to add to your other Jabba maquettes or just the other maquettes. It's a wonderfully designed character by Chris Wayless, who is someone who is an absolute legend in the FX community. If you only know Chris from his Star Wars work, go look him up. I mean, you've got the melting heads in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You've got designing the gremlins. For the, and making all those gremlins for the first Gremlins with a fellow Star Wars alum, Tony McVeigh, sculpting with him. You've got Enemy Mine, an absolute sci-fi classic.
Such a good movie.
The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, and then Chris even directed The Fly 2 with Eric Stoltz, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And it goes on from there. But those are the ones I know off the top of my head, so I'll stop. So that's that. We are probably not going to do another live video for a bit. We may do one, assuming everything goes on schedule, we may do one for 10/6, which would be ahead of the Leap of Faith wall decor that's coming out on 10/7. Somebody check on Alex, make sure he's okay that I said that. I'll say this. Our first production sample came to us today on that.
So good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It really,
it looks insane.
It feels like you're just holding the real thing.
It's good.
Really, really good. And people know what it looks like. There's a gold leafed section of it that we managed to get put on separately in a metallic gold so that it feels like it's a separate layer of the painting. It's so good.
Sick.
It's really fun. And for anybody that has the Temple Trap wall decors or the Grail tablet, you're going to need this. This is, if you have the Grail tablet, you really need this.
Oh, yes.
So,
should we give Ian like the slightest little
sure,
teaser? All right,
sure,
Ian,
yeah.
if you're there, get your freeze frame going.
So yeah, 10/14 will be our next Regal Icons, our first non-Star Wars, non-Indiana Jones icon, and it's going to be excellent. An absolute genius, someone who is well deserving of this.
Joe Blatt says you guys are better than QVC. I was literally going to say we sound like QVC today.
Exactly.
So we're doing something right.
Use Easy Pay. You
Yeah.
can get this on just
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a free chamois with every purchase.
Sometimes it feels that way. We try not to.
No, we're not salesy. We're just excited.
So that's all on that wonderful note. No,
Yeah.
thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who joined us live and asked questions. Thanks to everybody who asked questions before.
Yes.
If you are watching this on Facebook, give us a follow. Go to the Uniquely Regal Robot fan group and join. There's contests, there's giveaways, there's sneak peeks and information, and you get to watch Ian, nearly have a heart attack.
Yeah,
when
hyperventilate.
the Man shows up in the Mando trailer. And then if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, thank you. You can always put questions in the comments, and we'll try and get
we'll
back
get
to you
to them.
there. And please hit the like and subscribe button. Smash that notifications bell so that they tell you when we put new videos up. We've got new content going up all the time. Please join us. And if you're not following us on YouTube,
What's wrong with you?
At Regal Robot on YouTube, and go follow us. That's all. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to see a lot of you in the inbox tomorrow bringing this guy home.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Bye.